All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. This is Neat Intel. And what we are going to do today is something I've actually done on this channel before. If you look at this set of information on the kind of middle right of your screen, you will notice a a series of dates and notations of EAMs being broadcast on those dates. And at the bottom of that series, we have highlighted today's date, May 19th, with some question marks. What you should notice with this series of dates, so August 19th and 20th, that was a Saturday and a Sunday last year. November 18th, 19th, a Saturday and Sunday last year as well, 3 months after the last set of dates, February 10th and 11th of this year, 3 months after the set of date before that, and this weekend is 3 months afterwards. And you'll see on the Saturday when 194 character messages were broadcast on August, November, February, a little bit different yesterday. Instead of being 194, it was 210. But we'll take a look at it a little bit in a moment. Otherwise, it's mostly held up. So the question today is going to be this Sunday, May 19th, are we going to have a 216 character message? And looking at the broadcast times on the Sundays that we've noted previously, August 20th is a 1644, November 19th is 1645, February 11th, 1645. In theory, we should expect a message to be broadcast at 1645 today. That is what we're counting down to. That is what today's gimmick is. That's why I've got the countdown on the bottom right corner. I've got predictions in air quotations for you. And this is pretty much demonstrating the routine nature of these long messages. Now, for anyone who didn't watch the video that I uploaded to the channel last night, and it wasn't very many people because last time I checked it only got 200 views, I'll actually go through it in this video live stream that we're doing right now so that you don't miss anything. But it does feel like one of those missed gems in terms of what this channel offers you folks. So it was a 2-minute, 20-second video, and we'll go through the information shared in it right now. So basically, for anyone not aware, yesterday a 210 character message broadcast at 2116. We captured that in our our live stream yesterday. That is a 24/7 live stream, so that's not going to be available on the channel in the future, but I did grab a recording of that message and I'll be uploading it to this channel later on today or tomorrow. But after that message was broadcast, I kind of was curious and I went to Twitter to see what were folks saying about it. And this is a screenshot I took last night. Red and Black Attack is a Twitter account that covers a few things, and I actually think they are a pretty good Twitter account for this stuff. I've interacted with them positively before, occasionally negative as well, I will say. But yesterday, their comment was this 210 character EAM was followed by messages for just 4, weird, and they noted that this all occurred nearly simultaneously with reports of drone strikes in, I'm not terribly sure, Novorossiysk. And you guys know the drill with me by now. I would have loved to be able to demonstrate to you a strong connection between EAMs and events like this, because once you collect thousands of message transcriptions, as I have, and other people who have also monitored thousands of messages share their information with you, it should be pretty easy to put a compelling story together for people and point out, oh, this EAM connects to this EAM connects to that. And if I were able to do that, I guarantee you this channel would be a lot more popular than it was. You'll see even the spurious speculation got 16,000 tweets. But unfortunately, all my data collection has really suggested nothing of the sort. So I replied to Red and Black Attack saying, long EAMs are pretty common on weekends, and a lot of them have identifiable routine patterns. And I got blocked for that. Now, like I said, the video I put out contextualizing the pattern that I suggested only got 200 views, but I posted on Twitter as well, and I think that only has 2,000 views. Whereas this one is now north of 20,000. So if you're watching this right now, or you've watched the other things, you're getting, I guess, exclusive information. But we'll go through the pattern right now, and you guys will be able to verify this. So the pattern, at least as far as I've currently been looking up, seems to have started August of last year, as we've said. And it was on the third Saturday of the month at 2034, a 194 character EAM was broadcast. And the day after, a 216 character EAM was broadcast. If you want to verify this, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you type August 19 neat intel into Twitter or YouTube, you will get the respective time card for that day, August 20th neat intel. Again, either Twitter or YouTube. You should be able to pull up the time cards I posted, and you'll be able to verify for yourself these messages were broadcast that day. Now, one thing that's important here, the August 19th has a typo. You may be able to see it. Let me see if I can grab a pen tool for you. You see where this says 142? That should not say that. It should say 194. But if you go through and you count the characters, you will arrive at the 194 figures, so no worries there. But this one, certainly, you will see 219. Another way you can verify this, let us pull up my favorite website. No, I'm kidding. It's not a terrible website. But what you can do, this is the website eam.watch. That is literally it. If you type eam.watch into your browser search bar / browser bar, whatever they're calling it, you'll pull up the website. And in their search field, you do date, and they use a year, month, day format. So 2023, 08, what have we said, 19th? If you scroll down, you will see this was entered by me. So same message. And if for some reason you were to doubt the authenticity, or you just want to double check the characters here.
All stations. This is Hornfog, break. Juliet, Charlie, 7, Golf, Echo, Whiskey, stand by. Juliet, Charlie, 7, Golf, Echo, Whiskey, stand by. Juliet, Charlie, 7, Echo, Whiskey, stand by. Message of 194 characters follows. Juliet, Charlie.
Okay, so we won't listen to it in full because it takes, as you can see there, 11 minutes to go through in full, a little longer than that. But you can do the same thing for the August 20th message. Type that in, 2023 0820, and you will find at 1644 the 216 character message. There is a recording there for you. That one is also about 11 minutes long. So that is available to you folks if you would like to verify that for yourself. And we will go back to the PowerPoint. And we'll just put those back where they were. Okay. So 3 months later, in November, very similar thing. On the Saturday at 21:34, so an hour later than prior, but we see a 194 character message broadcast. And then November 19th, the third Sunday of the month, at 16:45, so that is, if you like the correct time, a 216 character message was broadcast. Now, to listen to those, I've got notations here for those are actually available as live streams on this channel, and pointing more to the hidden gem element of this, This was back when no one was watching these, really. And I didn't mind because I kept doing it anyways. I really appreciate the early audience who's in this more for the interest of it than anything else. So 90 views, 29 views, 95 views, 50 views, uh, whatever. And I just remembered there's an easier way for you guys to pull this up. So if you go to this channel and you click this video, which again, not even 200 views yet, I stand corrected. Links are here for you. So for November 18th and 19th, if you click these links in the video description, these are time-stamped. So it'll go straight to it. And we'll listen just a bit.
All stations, this is available. Available. Break. Juliet, Oscar, Bravo, Hotel, Charlie, Zulu. Stand by. Juliet, Oscar, Bravo, Hotel, Charlie, Zulu. Stand by. Juliet, Oscar, Bravo, Hotel, Charlie, Zulu. Stand by. Message of 194 characters follows. Juliet.
All right, so again, that's probably going to take us, the better part of 15 minutes to listen to in full. But that is how you can verify and listen for yourself the messages broadcast on November 18th and 19th. And obviously the video description has verification for all of those. So 3 months later, a little different in a few important ways. So instead of being the third weekend of the month, you see it was the second. So I don't quite remember whether I was expecting that or it kind of slipped my mind to even think to look for it. But if you waited until the third weekend of the month to try and hear it, you would have missed it. But again, it's otherwise pretty similar. A 194 on the Saturday at 21:34, and then the next day a 216 at 16:45. And if we just go through these three quickly, you can kind of see in real time what the differences are. And they're not significant across these. For one, there's an hour difference with the Saturday here. I'm going back and forth to make it really obvious. And you don't need to worry about the 1 minute difference on the Sunday. These guys are required to do things by schedule, but they're also not robots, right? So the hour difference, that could probably be explained by the daylight savings time shift. So I can't quite remember when daylight savings time takes effect. But 2034 to 2134, you can pretty much hand wave that, despite the significant sounding difference there. Now, for this day, it's pretty much the main thing we already said. Interesting that it was the third. Oop. So we just had a test count from Mainsail. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I'll briefly put it up on screen for you. That's just visuals. So that brings us to this weekend because there are some similarities and also some differences. So yesterday, May 18th, the third Saturday of the month, at about the right time, but 16 minutes earlier than we would have expected, we had a 210 character message broadcast. We would have expected 194. So there is a shift there. But other than that, we are once again on the third weekend of the month. And if you guys want to verify that audio, so it's going to be specific to the Saturday. We don't have the Sunday message yet. That's available on EAM.watch. And as I mentioned, it is, I did save a recording. I haven't uploaded it to this channel yet. I am curious if I can throw it in the browser for you. It doesn't look like it's going to let me. Um, hmm. But that is pretty much what we are counting down to. We're counting down to find out whether this holds up. My expectation is that it probably will. But if it doesn't, I mean, if it doesn't hold at all, that'll tell us something about what was going on here. This might have indicated perhaps the differences in terms of being 210 instead of 194. We might want to take a look at that message again to determine, was there something special about that? And just to go through this visually, I did paste some of the time cards in. They're not all the final drafts, unfortunately, but this is the August 19th. And something I want to point out here is other messages broadcast on the day of. So this, on Saturday, August 19th, we also had these messages for Sky High. And this is going to be a recurring thing, not specifically Sky High, but just messages for addressees. And that started 1602. August 20th, the Sunday, again for Sky High. 3 months later, November 18th, we had messages for Sylvan. And November 19th was actually a relatively busy day for the Hfgcs, but messages for Cyclopedia. February, so this is a draft, this is not complete. I didn't publish a time card for this day, and you can also see for a few of the messages I didn't record I didn't transcribe the message beyond the preamble. It should be possible to go back and get full messages for those, not guaranteeing whether I will or won't. But a number of these messages you'll see on the right, that rightwards pointing arrow, those were all messages for Centimo. Uh, and again, this is not the full set of messages for the day, and I believe there were additional messages for Centimo. And February 11th, there were messages for Milan. And again, I believe all the ones with the rightwards pointing arrow are messages for Milan. So yesterday, same thing. We had messages for a call sign bolus. Now, I don't have a time card ready for May 19th yet, but I believe, unless I'm having reception issues, and that is possible because I do think there was a solar flare that occurred earlier, but I usually try to not accept that as an initial explanation for potential reception issues with the HFGCS. But there haven't been any 4 messages today. So it is possible that what we heard yesterday, the 210 instead of the 194, may be indicating a shift in the pattern we're seeing. Maybe it was an early termination. Who really knows? That is what this stream is for. That's what we're going to find out. But my assumption would be, let's listen at 1645. Let's see what happens, and that's why we're doing this with the countdown and etc. Now, this is not the only thing we've been able to anticipate with messages. Let me see if I can throw it back to this YouTube channel just for a moment. We won't listen to it in full, but back in December, I tried to do something similar. Let's see. And it was done as a live stream. That's why I have to scroll through all of these live stream videos. So I attempted to predict or anticipate, I would probably prefer to use the word, on December 17th, and that would have been, let's see, the 3rd Sunday of December, so possibly a similar pattern. And it looks like I was pointing out to the audience that what the dates and times of some various messages broadcast, and not even 6 minutes into that stream, looks like a long message was indeed broadcast. So off the top of my head, I'm not terribly sure what that pattern was. But you can look through that video too later on, and I may post some of the relevant information. There are, routines. Okay, it's pretty visible there. I don't know if you guys can see that. But that's what it was back then. It looks like 216s and 246 character messages. You can see that on the top left corner of the chart. And then if you look in the middle, again, what date was that? Looks like September 3rd. And I guess this one in December would have been trying to anticipate the same thing about 3 months later. And if memory serves, it was a little bit different. Instead of a 246 and a 216, I think it ended up being, well, let's look at it in the Excel. What ended up happening December 17th? And I'll try and keep it brief because I like staring at this Excel spreadsheet, but what I know from YouTube analytics is I lose the audience when I do this. So should be visible to you there. December 17th, there is a 246 character message. And then on the Sunday, although I was expecting a 216, we instead got two 164 character messages, but it was at about the correct time that I expected. So almost immediately after that live stream in December began. Now, right now, we're still waiting for about another 45 minutes. And we've got to make sure these streams are working. Now let's try and tune that to one with less background noise. Something on the left channel. Not a message, possibly a test count or something. We'll keep an eye on that. And just so that you folks are aware, on the left, this is in California. This is Montana. This is a very good SDR, by the way. And this one on the right, Washington, D.C. So we have the West Coast covered, North Central covered, and the not the best reception there. I think someone's trying to contact them for a radio check or a phone patch or something. Not what we're doing this live stream for, but if we get better reception, we'll find out, I guess. No, this one blocks 8992. And roughly, these locations are picked on purpose. This corresponds to the West Coast station in California. Well, it doesn't correspond to, but it's close to. This is close to Offutt Air Force Base, and this is close enough to Andrews Air Force Base, which is 3 of the Hfgcs's ground stations. The choice of 8992 here is just the limitation with this particular SDR. What I might do closer to is change to a different SDR in California, but it has a timer on it, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. Generally, 11175 is, I think, the best stream to use for this kind of thing. There's some questions in the chat box right now about the president of Iran has passed away. I have no idea what's going on there, so that's something that is presumably going on right now. I did see a few channels were doing live streams. Not going to hop over to that because, well, I won't say I won't at all. But yeah, I'm sure other things will go on in the world today, as things always do. And certainly if you see anyone suggesting, let's say in 45 minutes we do have a long EAM broadcast, and you see anyone suggesting it has to do with anything going on in Iran, point them to the stream and encourage them to consider the idea that actually maybe that doesn't quite make sense. Because if an EAM today has to do with that, then, you know, another president of Iran should have died 3 months ago, 3 months before that. Anything that you want to connect today to, any message that we hear today or the message that you heard yesterday to, you should be able to connect it to other events that occur quarterly. And presumably there's something you could connect it to, right? but it's probably a military exercise that you'd be able to connect it to. I would actually guess, to be honest with you, this is some sort of a status update or a set of instructions, and you may not necessarily see anything showing up on the maps, as it were. Now, just to take a quick look at the flight traffic over the US right now, I'll refresh this just in case, but it doesn't look like there are currently... Oh, there is one E6 airborne. And this took off, what, about 15 minutes ago? So Cushy 03 AE0418 and Truce 07 AE041C, those are currently grounded. Those have been grounded for a while, I believe. And you can just tell by the... I think I've cropped it off the screen, but their color indicates their altitude, and those are both grounded. So they're indicating is not even 500 feet, and since they haven't moved in some times, you can assume they've landed. So this one now coming out, I'm curious where it left from. I'm not immediately familiar with what the Gowan Field Air National Guard Base. I'm guessing that's where it left from. And it looks like it is heading due west. Well, no, southwest. It's headed southwest, not due west. I shouldn't say things like that sometimes. And it's flying. I will not be able to throw together any hyperarticulate commentary on that. That's interesting. Got to turn up the volume on these guys. What I don't want to have happen is me talking over something. Just out of curiosity. Those don't look like messages. Not terrifically sure what that was.
Race card. This is heavy arm, heavy arm. I request you authenticate Alpha, November, Tango. I say again, I request you authenticate Alpha, November, Tango.
Okay, so it sounds like that E6 off the... Well, the one that we were just looking at on the map is currently authenticating, so I'm going to change to the California SDR that can pick it up. Well, it can pick it up, but not terrifically well, and it looks like none of the SDRs that I've got up on screen for you at the moment are getting a particularly good read on it.
Race card, race card. This is heavy arm, heavy arm. I authenticate Charlie, Alpha, Delta with Lima. I say again, Charlie, Alpha, Delta with Lima. If correct, I have you entering the net at 16030. How copy, over?
So we just heard that plane checking into the net. I really apologize if I've misheard the call sign, but it very much sounded to me like the call sign was race card. And typical authentication conversations, so that not necessarily going out there to broadcast EAMs, but could well be. I don't think we've heard any in the last little bit that it would be rebroadcasting. One thing I forgot to mention, on the far right of your screen, we do have the U20, University of Twente WebSDR on screen for you, just in case Europe gets good reception of the messages. Now, you might be able to see that looks like it's getting a lot of interference today. But yeah, Mandy, bless your heart. Race car. Race car. I heard race card. I'm like, why have they picked that for a call sign? Yeah, I hope. Let's assume it's race car, and I don't know why I immediately jumped to assuming that. We will figure race car. So we're still over half an hour away from finding out whether the pattern is going to hold up in full. But a couple arguments against, I did briefly point them out, but today we haven't had any messages for anyone yet. And because yesterday's message was 210 characters instead of 194 characters, that gives us some pause to wonder what might end up happening there. One thing, I alluded to it, um, but it certainly it is a little frustrating today to see. Uh, this is a spurious, nonsensical suggestion. You can't keep making suggestions like this, in my opinion, when you have data for thousands of EAMs. And there have been, hobbyists who've been monitoring the Hfgcs for a very long time. They have had data for a very long time, and no one's ever been able to put together anything to this effect. So the time to keep making these kinds of spurious things and guesses, I think it's long over. If this was kind of your first day at the hobby, fine. But Red and Black Attack has been monitoring the HFGCS for a very long time. And this is a ridiculous reaction. Really quite disappointed that he went that way. And I'm more disappointed with the wider audience. It's kind of goofy that this incorrect speculation about EAMs gets thousands of views, and my corrections only get small amounts. I think there's something on the radio. Uh, don't think that's the HFGCS. But more than ever, or well, really just I've pointed this out before. This is a very niche topic, and especially when I'm not, throwing out crazy ideas into the air about this or that, connecting EEMs to real world news, it does not retain the audience. I'm not surprised that we went from 22,000 viewers to a live stream last month to how many is it right now? Not very many at all. We'll leave it at that. So if it wasn't for the folks sponsoring me on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, and with YouTube paid memberships, I would not be doing this stream right now. Probably just typing it into an Excel spreadsheet and calling it a day. So thank you very much, folks, and highly appreciated. A comment that there is now a second E6 up from Travis Air Force Base. Okay, yep, there he is. Outtree 11. Now, what might be good, I'll throw the California SDR back up again. Whenever I see two E6s in the air, and if I have, extra hand available, I like to try and monitor 9031 because that's the channel they use for E6 to E6 communications. What happens sometimes, I don't know whether it's typical or not, you'll hear them on a primary HFGCS frequency first, requesting for them to move to another frequency, such as 9031 or 13907, I believe, which is Zulu 100 designator. But sometimes, if I just happen to be monitoring these by chance, I'll find that they moved over to these without saying anything on the primary frequencies. So something, if you're interested personally, whenever you notice something like that, grab an SDR and pull it to, those two frequencies, possibly others, and try and pick an SDR that's close to at least one or the other, because it's not always successful. And when I say it's not always successful, they even sometimes have trouble hearing each other. In fact, they regularly seem to have issues with these E6 to E6 communications. So we'll have that up on screen as well. But it's really, these are going to be the, one of these, if not all three, will get good reception of the message, which just over half an hour away. Oops, I don't have the SDRs on screen. There we go. So California, Montana, Washington, and this is just an extra one tuned to the Charlie Echo window, 9031 kilohertz, on the off chance that we do have those E6s attempt to communicate with each other. No promises on that, but just while we're running the stream, a point of curiosity. I'm going to step away for not even 2 minutes. I'll be right back, but don't worry about the brief lull in commentary. As promised, I am back. And it sounds like we might have that second E6 possibly about to check in. What is the... Oops. It certainly sounds like it. This one, Alpha Echo 0418, this is
All
one of
radios are
the...
set. This is 8195 doing a radio ops check. How copy?
Okay, that's not it. That is someone doing a radio ops check. I didn't quite catch it. Did I talk over it? They'll probably go again.
How about now?
That sounded more like a conversation in a sense, because it sounded like the second bit was them responding to someone, and I heard "how about now." Now, we obviously didn't hear the other end of that, but what might have happened is that radio ops check was broadcast on several frequencies, so rather than only 11175, they might have broadcast on, 4724 and 8992 and 11175 and 15016. Maybe some other primary frequencies that are completely slipping by me at this time. I don't think so, though. But let's say, if the other person was also on 8992, that would explain why we didn't hear it. Now, with the authentication, I am expecting one for AE0418, and before that ops check, I commented, this is one of the E6s that has a noisy transmitter. And let's see. The way you can do that, if you're curious, is sometimes I complain about E6s on Twitter. So in the search bar, you guys can't see it, but if you type in, neat intel one word, and then you type in a hex code of one of the E6s, you'll sometimes see me complaining about them. So these are the two. These are the two E6s I hate to hear on the Hfgcs. Alpha Echo 0418, Alpha Echo 041C. And again, this one that's taken off, Alpha Echo 0418. So if we do hear it, it's going to have quite a unpleasant noise to its transmissions, unless it happens to be the case that they've fixed that, which I'm not going to hold my breath for. Or I guess it could be a, what's the word for that? Spontaneous issue? Not spontaneous, but yeah, maybe spontaneous. So we're less than half an hour away from 1645. And one thing I didn't have a chance to do today, but occurred to me last night before I went to bed that I want to double check it. And again, I know for some of you, watching me scroll around in Excel is worse than watching paint dry. So I'll just say this briefly. Oh heavens, what was that? No, we'll have to go on YouTube here because I know I commented it somewhere. Arc. So neat intel 2. I don't know if you guys know about this channel, but this is meant to be kind of a bonus. Let's see. So this was for May 18th, the third of 3 days in a row with a 39 character message broadcast around 0240. May 17th. But this says May 18th. The title is wrong. I will have to fix that later. Okay, but we'll go to the Excel spreadsheet. May 17th. Wrong tab. What am I talking about? All right, so here. Oops, we'll pick a darker color. Go purple. May 16th at 2:44, a 39 character message was broadcast. Okay, there we go. May 15th, May 17th, 39 character messages were broadcast. And then what I was wondering is for the prior 3-month instances, do we have the same pattern showing up where leading up to the day of we have 39 character messages broadcast around the same time? So the days, February 10th and 11th. So we've got a couple of those on screen for you right now. Well, 7th and 8th, we had 39 character messages broadcast. And then the question would be on the 9th, and I don't think I was monitoring comprehensively on the 9th. Do I have any entries for the 9th? Wait, no, the 9th was... Yeah, I would have had to have been on the 9th. And it looks like there wasn't. I'll have to recheck that in the live stream, but let's look at the other dates. So November 18th, 19th, So we want to know if on the 16th, no, on the 15th, 16th, and 17th, were 39 character masters broadcast around 0240. Let's check. Doesn't look like it. I don't really see anything consistent going on there. All right, so not quite any pattern to anything with that. No worries. The other thing that occurred to me, and I think someone already tried looking into this for me before, so don't spend a lot of time on it. But the question would be, for these days where we've noticed similarities in messages, have we noticed any similarities in flight patterns? And I will not be the person to put that answer together for you because I don't know what's normal for flight patterns. I don't know what's abnormal for flight patterns. I'm thinking what else could potentially be related. We had an 8888 message broadcast by an E4 a few days ago. Lord Humongous is joining the chat wondering what's going on. I would suggest hopping to the start of the stream or watching the 2-minute video I uploaded to the channel yesterday. That's probably the best thing to do. If you're wondering what's going on, let's see. What is that, Firefox? Watch this 2-minute video, not even, and then hop back to the live stream. You have still got over 20 minutes. So if you watch the 2-minute video and come back, you'll have 20 minutes, no sweat. And you'll be completely filled in on what is occurring. Right now, I'm just kind of speculating what else might be connected. Let's see. When did we hear 8888 messages? August 19th and 20th. Not sure. November 18th, 19th. Last year, I don't know. February 10th and 11th. I again don't know. Not sure. I don't have enough data on the quadruple 8 messages to even try and make any connections there yet. I did look back prior to August of 2023 to see if it stretched back. So May of 2023, I don't have any data. February of 2023, I think there was maybe something there if you squinted. So it might be a relatively newer routine that we're seeing, or it just tends to change sometimes and become a little bit less recognizable. And we may be seeing that right now. This iteration may be a shift so that it's less recognizable, either on purpose so that observations like this are a little more difficult to make, or just by the nature of whatever it is, or the nature of the encryption methods, or etc. Another thing I am sort of curious to see, people have asked me, do I think the military is aware of this stream and what I'm up to? I don't know if, in a formal sense, the military is aware of what I'm doing. But what I will say is, I think at least a couple of people are aware. And it would be funny if someone happened to see this stream and say, "Oh, we're going to delay the message just to throw things off." Um, there's only what, like 30 people watch? No, I mean, if it works, there's a risk that more people will watch afterwards. I'll tell you, look at the recent analytics on this channel. I'm unlikely to get a lot of traction. This is really just for the people who are interested in this niche topic. So on the off chance someone important to this happens to be watching or has like any level of control over this, it would be really freaking cool if there is supposed to be a message at 16:45, to broadcast it at 16:45, it would be funny to broadcast it like 2 minutes later or something. Although it'd be funny for you and not me. I don't really, if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't happen at all, then it's that's the scientific method, right? You throw a theory out there based on evidence, you see if it holds up. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you learn something. If it ends up being like an hour later, I'm not going to keep running this stream for like a very long time because it's off my laptop versus my computer. We'll just throw back to the 24/7 stream. And if the 24/7 stream happens to capture it, great. I'll record that and then upload it to the channel. And this prediction stream, I'll probably just update in the comments or the description. Hey, this is when it actually broadcasts, either, plus an hour, minus an hour, plus 15 minutes, whatever ends up being from the expected time. But again, just for the folks who are maybe joining right now, which isn't many, but there are a couple things suggesting it's possible it won't happen. And one thing will be kind of immediately obvious to you if you look at the set of information on the middle right side of your screen. So on Saturdays, we've been having 194 messages broadcast on Saturdays quarterly. Yesterday was a Saturday, but instead of 194 characters, it was 210 characters. What does that mean for today? Well, if yesterday had been 194, I would be telling you with a much higher degree of confidence that you can expect a 216 character message in just over 18 minutes. As it is right now, in about 18 minutes, uh, I, I think there'll be a long EAM. I don't feel confident suggesting it will be 216 characters because it seems like things are shifting a little bit. It could still be. But it could also be different. It could also be that yesterday's message somehow indicated a termination to this routine. And as I pointed out earlier in this set of information, on all the prior days, we've had additional messages for certain addressees. So on August 19th, messages for Sky High. August 20th, again, you had these messages for Sky High. Sylvan in November. And on the second day of November, Cyclopedia. Back in February, this is a draft, this isn't complete, but any of these messages with the right pointing arrows, I believe those were all messages for call sign Centimo. February 11th, all these messages with right pointing arrows, those were messages for Milan. And yesterday, not all of them, I believe these and these were call sign Bolus. And today, as far as I know, unless I missed something, I don't have a draft time card ready for you yet, but there have not been any messages for anyone so far. And again, with the SDRs, what I've set up for you, this one is in California, so it's going to be near the West Coast Hfgcs ground station. This one in the middle is in Montana. It's a very good SDR, kiwi.foxculture.net. Is going to be located near Offutt Air Force Base. And Washington, D.C., na5b.com, Kiwi SDR, is located near Andrews Air Force Base. This one on the far right, just out of interest, we're monitoring some additional frequencies. Don't know if we'll hear anything, but if we do, it'll be interesting. I will take a brief moment, just because folks are asking about it, to check off screen what is going on with Iran. Sounds like there was some sort of event with the, I don't know. You guys in the chat box can maybe report to each other, but basically something has occurred with the president of Iran, a helicopter accident of some kind. I'm seeing, well, things on Twitter have immediately jumped to speculation on deliberate attack, but I really don't know. So I can't comment to you on that right now. Meta Steve, there was a hard helicopter landing. I believe he's okay. A helicopter. Someone else is commenting a helicopter crash in heavy fog. Doesn't seem like we've got all the details there yet, or at least a set of facts that everyone can agree on. I don't terribly know. I'm not even gonna try and look into it because I'm just going to, you're going to be listening to a confused person talking. Just double check the current positioning of the E6s according to the website adsbexchange.com. These positions haven't updated in a bit. Let's try refreshing. There we go. So AE0416 is still headed in this direction. Oops. If you guys can see bookmarks that I don't necessarily want you to see. And this one, AE0418, is doing something else. As far as other E6s, this is not flying right now. This is landed quite some time ago, I believe. And we are now just 13 minutes away. So if the message does broadcast at 16:45, realistically, that'll be it. I wouldn't have much to add on top of the stream after that. If it doesn't broadcast at 16:45, we'll give it, maybe half an hour on top of that. And if it doesn't happen within, half an hour afterwards, it will be tricky. It doesn't mean that the pattern is gone yet. Like, let's say it ends up being broadcast at, I don't know, 2200, like a really dramatic example. Wouldn't mean there's a change in things, but there already is a little bit of a change. So again, we're doing this as a experiment in the scientific method, I guess. And again, thank you to the folks who sponsor this project that I work on. Can be quite time consuming this time. It's certainly taken a lot of time out of the weekend for me this weekend. And as you can see with the views both on YouTube and on Twitter, it is realistically a niche topic. So if you're interested in what I'm doing and you'd like to see it continue, the support is highly appreciated because it keeps it sustainable. So, on days like today where I am spending a little bit more time on it and become conscientious of it, it's like, well, it is being subsidized a bit, so it's not the least sustainable thing that I spend time on in my life. And we live in an interesting era where we all now have to worry about things like that. I wish we didn't. I wish you could do hobbies because you liked it. And I mean, you still can, but you have to worry about triaging your time. There's so many people now who, even the things you assume they would do for fun, they have to find a way to nickel and dime it. And I feel like I have to keep up with that. On the ongoing event with the president of Iran, Steve has shared that Reuters has posted the president's life is at risk after a helicopter crash. So we'll pull up to that. It's briefly on screen for you folks. I'm well aware there are other channels you could watch right now, and I'm sure uh, my audience is probably undermined a little bit just because of this, which, whatever. A helicopter carrying Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi and his foreign minister crashed on Sunday as it was crossing mountain terrain in heavy fog, an Iranian official told Reuters. and rescuers were making their way to the site of the incident. The official said their lives were at risk following the helicopter crash. So I think that's going to be all that we really have about that right now. Possibly someone on Twitter might have some breaking news for you. Um, on the U20 SDR right now, you may see that big white thing, and you can't hear it, but I'll turn it on for just a moment so that you can hear it. Now, we're not tuned into that correctly. It's not really something you tune into. That is one of the two, well, most likely it's one of two large over-the-horizon radars. I forget their names, but one is operated by Russia, and the other is, I believe, operated by NATO. It is located in Cyprus. And if you ever monitor shortwave radio using SDRs in Europe, you've probably come across one or both of them at various times. There are ways to tell the two apart, but that's certainly not something I'm interested in listening to right now. So we'll swap to a different HFGCS frequency. But this one, 8992, is occasionally used by the French Air Force, and if you tune in with SDRs in Europe, you are more likely to hear them. You might see that lighter banding on the 8992 that we're tuned to right now. That could well be them. So neither frequency is ideal to be tuned to right now. I'm not terribly sure how effective it is to tune into, for example, 15016. You know, that also has a lot of background noise. 4724, maybe. Unlikely. When it gets closer to, I will change back to either 8992 or 11175. I would not feel terribly confident about hearing an EAM at 4724 at this time of the day for Europe. But I often forget 4724 exists, so grain of salt with that one. It's been quiet. I was taking a look at the overnight live stream earlier, and I will do that again in the background, but I don't think any masters have been broadcast since 0010 Zulu, and that was a rebroadcast from one of the E6s. So it's been quiet today, and that's kind of giving me pause in terms of what our expectations for today might be. Just checking in the background here. Yeah, it's been a fairly quiet day. Mandy had a question. Are my time cards in UTC as far as the date concerns? Yeah, everything I do is in UTC. What occasionally ends up being a hiccup is with Sky Masters when I'm trying to anticipate them. Um, I expect them on Wednesdays, but that Wednesday I'm usually talking about local time for North America and any time zone, none in specific. But I will still report all the times in Universal Coordinated Time / Zulu time, which is effectively the same thing, just a difference in notation. So any time card you look at, anything I post, I'm always going to report it in UTC. It's a good question because there are a number of places where people will report EAMs, either forums or various other online communities, and it's not always obvious that they're talking in UTC or not. You assume they are, and then you end up finding a message they transcribe, and you happen to have that transcribed somewhere else online, and you realize someone is reporting in local time because it's the same message, same minute, but hours apart. And I'm not talking, 2 or 3, I'm talking like 7 or 8. It's So the example that I'm talking about that's coming to mind in particular, there's a Russian forum, and they look like some of the users would report in local time instead of universal coordinated time. It's also a thing when I look back through older recordings on YouTube. Um, Folks will post times in local, and it's like, well, you're not even noting where you live. So I have no idea when this was broadcast. I should have done a poll or something in terms of whether people actually expect a message to broadcast in under 5 minutes. I'm leaning towards no, to be honest with you. Just because yesterday was a little bit different and today has been rather quiet. It's the lack of messages for anyone that's really kind of tilting me. Um, there could well be radio silence in 4 minutes. We'll find out. Uh, Someone has joined the stream asking what's going on. So there is a video linked in there's a pinned comment in the chat box with a video link. The video is not even 3 minutes long, so if you watch that right now and hop back to the stream, uh, you've still got time to understand what's going on. Basically, we're expecting a long EAM in about, well, 3 minutes and 39 seconds. I was thinking about playing music to get people in the mood, but realistically, all of the music would be subject to copyright strikes. Um, Even if you play like, well, it's kind of hit or miss. Some songs and rights holders handle it differently. I have in the past on other channels been copyright struck for using a melody. I've been copyright struck for using like a 10-second snippet of a song, so I'm not even gonna try. A comment. You've been here a few times and not sure what is happening in general. Lots of videos on the channel um, to get you familiar. A lot of those videos don't have many views, so it's tough. It's tough for me right now. I would encourage you if you're not sure what's going on with the channel and you'd like to have a better idea, look through some of the videos. Just briefly, I don't want to take away from the screen too much, but what I would suggest if you go to the Neat Intel YouTube channel, scroll down the bonus videos playlist. Most of these videos, especially the more recent ones, I give a lot of information and context. This one I've recommended people to watch. It still only has 1,000 views. Um, we've got what, almost 4,000 subscribers. Check that one out. That is an introduction to the channel. We're not going to watch it right now. I would start there. Anti-Honey comments, this is outside their field of knowledge, but it's fun. This is outside my field of knowledge as well, but yeah, it can be fun and it can be interesting, and I got into it. Despite, I've never served in the military, don't plan to serve in the military. Don't own a shortwave radio. Well, as a kid, my father had a shortwave radio, but I think we sold that in a garage sale or something. It's been gone for a while. We never had much success with it. He wanted to listen to, well, I wanted to listen to a number of stations, and it's like, well, when are they broadcast? What frequencies? Back then, we did not know, so we never managed to hear any of those. What I'll do now is for U20 is throw it back to, how's 11175 looking? Yeah, it's still got that. So 8992 is going to be our best bet for the visuals out of Europe. Looks like there was something on 89 or 9 or 2. Now for audio, what I'm going to do, I would guess the one in Montana will have the best reception if there is a message. So I'm going to mute the other ones temporarily, but if it ends up being the reverse of that, we'll change. But here goes nothing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope. We got nothing. And just so that you guys know, on the 89er 2, that is probably the French Air Force. So we'll give it a little bit longer. Another 15, 20 minutes. Meta Steve comments they are on to us. Yeah, I don't mind doing these in advance because I really doubt that they're going to change their schedule for. I know you're kidding. I'm kidding around as well. They're probably not going to change their schedule just because it's someone with a YouTube audience of 50 people has a hunch one is about to be broadcast. I think more likely what's happened here is something different yesterday and the lack of 4 messages today. Hmm. Hmm. I don't have much else for you right now. We're kind of just watching and waiting. I'm going to leave it on 11175 on the right, but again, that's just a radar. So don't worry about that looking the way it does. So we'll unmute all of these. And yeah, what we'll do... Something on 8992. So we picked that up on the one of the 2 California SDRs on 8992. So this one I'm assuming will get better reception, so I changed that one to 8992 as well. Most likely, let's see. Throw this up on screen for you guys. That is most likely your E6 that is trying to check in.
India, 4, Delta, Yankee, Lima, 2, Juliet, Quebec, India, Romeo, 6, 4, Bravo, F, Lima, November, 6, Sierra, Foxtrot, 2, India, Hotel, Papa, 7, India, Uniform, November, Hotel, X-ray, Oscar, Victor, Papa, Charlie, Victor, Yankee, Tango, Hotel, Kilo, Yankee, Foxtrot, Echo, Foxtrot, Kilo, Delta, 7, 6, Golf, Alpha, X-ray, Quebec, 7, Papa, 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 Charlie, Kilo, 6, Alpha, Kilo, Tango, Delta, 3, Bravo, Uniform, 2, Whiskey, Golf, Zulu, Yankee, Zulu, Whiskey, Golf, 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 X-ray, Papa, Alpha, Delta, Sierra, Uniform, 6, Sierra, Sierra, X-ray, Lima, Echo, Alpha, Papa, Hotel, Hotel, Kilo, Echo, Victor, 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 Sierra, Papa, Romeo, Alpha, Oscar, Bravo, 2, Mike, Juliet, 4, India, Zulu, Uniform, Yankee, Zulu, Quebec, Yankee, Quebec, Kilo, 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 November, Quebec, Alpha, 6, Alpha, Charlie, Kilo, Golf, Kilo, Charlie, Victor, Foxtrot, 4, Radio, 3, Bravo, 3, Hotel, Golf, 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 Oscar, Victor, Tango, 3, 2, Oscar, Victor, Victor, Charlie, 4, India, Tango, 4, Stop, Tango, X-ray, Tango, Uniform, Tango, Tango, India, Tango, Romeo, Bravo, Victor, Yankee, Lima, Sierra, Papa, Golf, 5. I say again. Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, 4, 3, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Juliet, Foxtrot, Quebec, Juliet, November, Echo, X-ray, Tango, 4, 4, 6, Romeo, 4, Kilo, Yankee, 5, 2, Alpha, 7, Papa, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Uniform, 7, Oscar, 3, Lima, Tango, Quebec, Foxtrot, Lima, India, 4, Delta, Yankee, 2, Juliet, Quebec, India, Romeo, Yankee, Tango, Hotel, Kilo, Yankee, Foxtrot, Echo, Foxtrot, Kilo, Delta, 7, 6, Golf, Alpha, X-ray, Quebec, 7, Papa, 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 Charlie, Kilo, 6, Alpha, Kilo, Tango, Delta, 3, Bravo, Uniform, 2, Whiskey, Golf, Zulu, Yankee, Zulu, Whiskey, Golf, 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 X-ray, Papa. Disregard this transition to heavy arm out.
Well, they disregarded the transmission. What the heck?
Operations, this is heavy arm, break, Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, standby, Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, standby, Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, standby, message of 216 characters follows, Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, 4, 3, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Juliet, Foxtrot, Quebec, Juliet, November, Echo, X-ray, Tango, 4, 4, 6, Romeo, 4, Kilo, Yankee, 5, 2, Alpha, 7, Papa, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Uniform, 7, Oscar, 3, Lima, Tango, Quebec, Foxtrot, Lima, India, 4, Delta, Yankee, Lima, 2, Juliet, Quebec, India, Romeo, 6, 4, Bravo, Golf, Lima, November, 6, Sierra, Foxtrot, 2, India, Hotel, Papa, 7, India, Uniform, November, Hotel, X-ray, Oscar, Victor, Papa, Charlie, Victor, Yankee, Tango, Hotel, Kilo, Yankee, Foxtrot, Echo, Foxtrot, Kilo, Delta, 7, 6, Golf, Alpha, X-ray, Quebec, 7, Papa, 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 Charlie, Kilo, 6, Alpha, Kilo, Tango, Delta, 3, Bravo, Uniform, 2, Whiskey, Golf, Zulu, Yankee, Zulu, Whiskey, Golf, 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 X-ray, Papa, Alpha, Delta, Sierra, Uniform, 6, Sierra, Sierra, X-ray, Lima, Echo, Alpha, Papa, Hotel, Hotel, Kilo, Echo, Victor, 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 Sierra, Papa, Romeo, Alpha, Oscar, Bravo, 2, Mike, Juliet, 4, Lima, Zulu, uniform, Yankee, Zulu, Quebec, Yankee, Quebec, Kilo, 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 November, Quebec, Alpha, 6, Alpha, Charlie, Kilo, Golf, Kilo, Charlie, Victor, Foxtrot, 4, Radio, 3, Shadow, 3, Hotel, Go, 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 Oscar, Victor, Tango, 3, 2, Oscar, Victor, Victor, Charlie, 4, India, Tango, 4, Papa, Tango, X-ray, Tango, uniform, Tango, 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 Romeo, Bravo, Victor, Yankee, Lima, Sierra, Papa, Golf, 5. I say it again. Bravo, Hotel, Mike, 3, India, Whiskey, 4, 3, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Juliet, Foxtrot, Quebec, Juliet, November, Echo, X-ray, Tango, 4, 4, 6, Romeo, Philip, Kilo, Yankee, 5, 2, Alpha, 7, Bob, Foxtrot, Whiskey, uniform, 7, Oscar, 3, Lima, Tango, Quebec, Foxtrot, Lima, India, 4, Delta, Yankee, Lima, 2, Juliet, Quebec, India, Romeo, 6, 4, Bravo, Go, Lima, November, 6, Sierra, Foxtrot, 2, India, Hotel, Papa, 7, India, uniform, November, Hotel, X-ray, Oscar, Victor, Papa, Charlie, Victor, Yankee, Tango, Hotel, Kilo, Yankee, Foxtrot, Echo, Foxtrot, Kilo, Delta, 7, 6, Go, Alpha, X-ray, Quebec, 7, Papa, 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 Charlie, Kilo, 6, Alpha, Kilo, Tango, Delta, 3, Bravo, uniform, 2, Whiskey, Golf, Zulu, Yankee, Zulu, Whiskey, Golf, 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 X-ray, Papa, Alpha, Delta, Sierra, uniform, 6, Sierra, Sierra, X-ray, Lima, Echo, Alpha, Papa, Hotel, Hotel, Kilo, Echo, Victor, 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 Sierra, Papa, Romeo, Alpha, Oscar, Bravo, 2, Matt, Juliet, Sierra, Lima, Zulu, uniform, Yankee, Zulu, Quebec, Yankee, Quebec, Kilo, 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 November, Quebec, Alpha, 6, Alpha, Charlie, Kilo, Golf, Kilo, Charlie, Victor, Foxtrot, 4, Romeo, 3, Bravo, 3, Hotel, Golf, 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 Oscar, Victor, Tango, 3, 2, Oscar, Victor, Victor, Charlie,
All right, so we got there in the end. That was obviously awful to listen to. You could see in the waterfall, it was pretty much spilling over the filter. From looking at U20, it probably would have been better to swap over to 8992, but it could have varied by the SDR. I'm looking at the 24/7 stream in the corner of my eye right now, and it's spilling over there too. So I think it just varies by a few different factors. So, okay. What happened? It was initially 3 minutes late, and then the operator probably messed up or just lost their position, and instead of trying to backtrack and fix it, just figured they may as well disregard and start from scratch. Now, what's going to happen is that'll make it harder to report a little bit in the future, because if you're not familiar with uh, what we're talking about today, it'll look like there's been a shift, like a major shift in the 1645 pattern, but it just looks like they were late, then a mistake happened, and then they fixed it. So the correct time, I'm not sure. I'll have to backtrack and check when they started the corrected version. But what do we learn from this? Well, it seems like I was commenting earlier on the fact it seems so quiet today, relatively quiet, and there weren't any 4 messages, was giving me pause. I also was wondering about, the 210 instead of 194. Is that going to throw things off? So it looks like no. We've still got now the fifth 216 character message on a Sunday every few quarters. And how many folks are watching right now? I guarantee you it's not going to be like north of 100. Yeah, about what, 60 people? Between 50 and 60 people. So you are part, I guess, of an elite club. Because I'm sure you will see today people connecting this with what's going on in Iran, or really wanting to connect it with what's going on in Iran. Just like yesterday, they wanted to connect the long EAM with what's going on in Russia. And we've got something going on, so let's listen to that. Most likely, the E6 is now going to finally try and check into the net. The one that did not have an opportunity to do so earlier.
Heavy arm, heavy arm. Over.
So this one will be horrible to listen to. I was talking about this while we were waiting for the long message. But most likely this plane, no, not that plane. This plane will be checking into the net. Do I have it on screen for you? No, I do not. This plane, hex code Alpha Echo 0418, is going to check into the net right now. Pretty standard, not related to what we just heard. It's going to pass a set of characters back and forth with mainsail and or heavy arm. And that is pretty routine for the E6s. I am fairly confident. Really quite no background noise there. Fairly confident it is Alpha Echo 0418, because it's one of the two E6s with horrible transmitters that I complain about every time they're airborne and broadcasting messages. The other one is Alpha Echo 041C. But just to talk a little bit more about the long EAM thing that we just correctly anticipated, we can't do this for all long EAMs. Or at least if we could, we can't do it yet because I haven't looked at all the data and been able to put that together. I would suspect a non-trivial portion of them, however, are routine and can be identified as conforming to a sort of pattern like what we've just put together there. So this is why when you see accounts suggesting this has anything to do with a event going on, whatever happens to be big in the news at that point in time, you really have to stop and contextualize it. So, for example, today's EAM, is it fair speculation? Their 216 character message going out after this helicopter crash with the president of Iran happened. It's a fair speculation if the president of Iran crashed in a helicopter 3 months ago, also on a Sunday, or heck, the president of any other country happened to crash on a Sunday 3 months ago around the same time, so that within 5 minutes I'm able to anticipate ahead of time. But that is not what has occurred, so it's silly, and to put it bluntly. And the problem for me is that's kind of not exciting. Because if I say, well, it's routine, um, for a lot of people that's kind of boring. For me, it's interesting. But even I can recognize, wow, it would be a lot more interesting if these EAM happen to tie into big news events. So, giving you guys information on these, covering context, there's kind of two ways you can look at it at this point. Um, with EAMs, and I'm kind of more leaning towards this one, they're pretty routine. They're not going to be too exciting. And that's why, for the most part, I don't continue to do the 24/7 comprehensive monitoring of the HFGCS. Like, for the rest of this week, I'm not going to. The stream will be up, but I usually don't bother to transcribe EAMs. It's mostly the weekend ones that I'm still interested in, and the big thing for me is Skymaster events. Some of you, maybe this really piques your interest, and you're wondering, oh my goodness, like, how do we do more of this? It's tough, guys. It is tough because it's not going to grab a lot of attention on YouTube. Um, it's not going to consistently occur, and it's going to really struggle to capture the attention of a wider audience. So I've really scaled back to what I found most interesting, which is the Skymaster events, and I'm happy to do that. As far as the larger scope, what's going on in the news, this or that, it's really outside my field of expertise. Back to the relevant things. So Bellerophon, did previous Sunday events also have four strings? I think you said they did. If they did, that indicates some sort of change. So yeah, that was the other factor that was making me wonder, are we going to actually hear anything today? So this was Sunday, August 20th, which had a 219. Was it 219? Is that a typo? That should be 216, shouldn't it? 216. I can't write right now. That says 216. Okay, folks. Um, but you can see there were messages for Sky High on Sunday, August 20th, and then on Sunday, November 19th, we had these messages for Cyclopedia. Number of them on the same day. Where's the other one? February. Nope. February 11th, we had, so this is a partial time card, but all of these messages with the right pointing arrow throughout the day leading up to messages for Milan. And if we briefly double check with the Excel for February 11th, 2024, I believe even after the message was broadcast. Yeah, even after the message was broadcast, there were some more messages for Milan. So today we haven't had any messages for anyone. We've just had the 1648 and then whatever time the corrected version was broadcast. So there are some differences, and I guess we'll find out in 3 months whether those differences mean this was the last one, whether this continues. But at least today we were able to predict Predict isn't the right word. Anticipate is the word I would prefer to use, but you know, we do a little bit of clickbait, unfortunately, because that is how YouTube and the algorithm works, and it's actually not even working out that well anyways. What I would suggest, folks, is if you're interested in this and if you're about to take off, mark down on your calendars Saturday, August 17th, 2024, Sunday, August 18th, 2024. We'll be expecting more long messages. And again, it's going to look like on the Saturday, it'll be sometime around 21:30. And on the Sunday, it's going to be sometime around 16:45. So I will see you in, 3 months. No, I'm kidding. I will be around for other things. The stream will continue to run, and here and there will be other things. I will put out videos about more stuff. I'm joking about being gone for 3 months. But in terms of, day-to-day comprehensive monitoring of the Hfgcs, this is what I've been able to put together. If you guys are interested in it, you can put more together yourselves. I don't have much else to add on top of that. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your weekend, a good week, and I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you again to everyone who sponsors the channel. The regular 24/7 stream will go up a few minutes after this one ends. And until next time, bye.